Peter Stanton, who's the CEO and publisher of the Worcester Business Journal. Welcome, Peter.
Thanks, Tim, for having me.
Peter, for our viewers who may not be familiar with the Worcester Business Journal, it's been around for a while, but why don't you tell us a little bit about the Worcester Business Journal?
Yeah, we've been around. Actually, we celebrated our 25th anniversary last year. We're a publication sort of dedicated to writing about, reporting on the business community in central Massachusetts. So our distribution is we're direct mail. The printed copies are direct mail to CEOs and C-level executives and firms throughout Worcester County and up and down 495 in some towns just over the border. And in addition to that, we have a pretty robust website. We send out daily emails with breaking news, and we do probably close to a dozen events a year where we bring the business community together, whether it's for celebrating things or educating around sort of key economic issues.
Right, right. And one of the issues that we do together is the economic forecast, and we'll get into the specifics of that. But that's designed an annual event to try to bring together a lot of the business leaders, others, to kind of talk about the year past, but also the year ahead.
Yeah, really, mostly the year ahead. And I think, Tim, when you and I look back, and if we looked at attendance numbers, I think when the markets and the economy has been the most uncertain is when we've had the biggest turnout. And, certainly true in 2010 and 11 as we were just dealing with that major recession. And I think even though things have been good this year, clearly stock market gyrations have been rather enormous, and I think there's sort of a nervousness that will increase our attendance again this year. I think there's just a lot more attention being paid and interest in how are we doing and what are the implications of some of these sort of national or international trends on what happens here on the ground in Massachusetts.
I mean, every day you hear it. I mean, when people, feel that the economy's getting better and their companies are, getting a little footing, it's just this cautious and wariness because we live in such a volatile world and information change and travel so quick that, things change and kind of can impact that would be the stock market or people's decisions.
Absolutely. So what we're doing at the forecast and what we've done every year is we've combined two kinds of speakers. One, a terrific economist who can give us perspective on what happened in the last year, what might have happened in the last few, and a longer view of what they believe is sort of the trends are going forward. We have a terrific speaker coming out of Bank of America's Merrill Lynch division, who's one of their major economists, named Karen Kimbrough. We've got our moderator is Peter Howe, who's a business editor at NECN, terrific guy. And then obviously we have Fred Eppinger. We've got one more speaker who we haven't quite announced yet. We're waiting to confirm in the next day or two. Right. So.
And I think you mentioned that longer view, and Fred Eppinger. I mean, who's better to do that? Been at Hanover almost a dozen years now, taking that company to new levels, but also, that company's been such a significant player and catalyst for economic growth, working with the arts and culture community, the higher ed and K through 12 education community. Clearly a company that looked at things over the long view.
Yeah, I mean, Fred's a unique leader. I think, so anyways, we have an economist talking about sort of the national scene, then we have probably a couple of CEOs, Fred being one of them, and that one more we're recruiting, who can give not only their perspective on the city, the town, the region, their industry, but also sort of their view, being a very large employer, their view sort of trends that are lying ahead and what's up with the sort of employment base in their industry as a whole.
And that's what I think people who attend the economic forecast get out of it, because we give that perspective, and I think that is important because it underscores the foundations of the Central Mass economy. When you look at it, we're lucky to have a diverse economy. We've got higher ed, healthcare, financial services, manufacturing. Economies that maybe rely on one sector can be much more volatile and susceptible to the lows and the highs. Having that multifaceted kind of approach or report, I think, helps our attendees get a true sense of what's happening.
I agree. There's a good diversity in the economy in the region, and obviously, as Boston booms, that sort of benefits the state. And Massachusetts, I think, has certainly done better than most in the last few years with this sort of recovery of the last 7 years. And so it's just good to get perspective. Otherwise, we're sort of reading the paper and the stock market goes down 300, it goes up 200, and oil goes down, and that's good, but it's bad. And sort of sorting out all of those sort of
$1.70 for gas.
Yeah, that's good. But there are other implications of that, obviously.
Right. And we're lucky to have some kind of local businesses and organizations stepping up to help sponsor this event.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got, again, for several years, we've had Bank of America Merrill Lynch as a sponsor. WPI's Robert Foisey School of Business has stepped up again. And then we've obviously got some additional support. Those are our presenting sponsors, additional support from Kelleher and Sadowski and the new Mercantile Center, as well as Bolus Lynch, Spectrum Business, and the WBDC. Also kind of stepping in. So I think it's a great event because we got a lot of people who sort of come to the table and say, this is important, we want to support this kind of education for the community as a whole, and for the business, from the business leadership sort of saying, this is where we think we're going.
Absolutely, and a couple people comment just that, they find this to be, excuse me, one of the more enjoyable events in the sense that it's in the morning, you can kind of sit down and focus, breakfast and a little networking, but then an hour and a half, just kind of blocking it out and listening and having a dialogue.
Yeah, and having been there many years together, I think we would both say these are not dry economists presenting slides that you can't sort out what it means. We've got really good communicators kind of putting in layman's terms where they see the trends are going. And I think anyone who's ever seen Fred Eppinger speak would come away going, boy, that's the smartest guy in the room. Although I have to say, the economist who's speaking, I was looking at her resume. She's got a PhD from Oxford, a master's in public policy from Harvard, and a BA from Stanford. So Fred's going to have some competition when it comes to smartest person in the room.
We like that. So with Karen Kimbrough, people want to attend?
Yes. So it's easy to attend. Obviously, we've got a lot of promotion for it on our side. I know the Chamber as well is promoting it. Registration is at wbjournal.com. You can go on there and easily register. The date is Thursday, February 11th. And so we're expecting really good. It's at the Beechwood Hotel. It starts at 7:30 in the morning, and we get folks out by 10:30. Not 10:45. Well, we deliver on, we all know it's important to deliver on your promised time. So a lot of meaty matters dealt with over a lovely breakfast.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. Time is people's biggest commodity, but this really is a substantive program that you get a lot out, as you described, in layman's terms. Really understanding how the worldwide economy, the national economy affects us here in Central Mass.
We also have some fun as well, and one of the things I think we do at the very end is we've had a Can You Be the Economist of the Year kind of contest. And we've asked folks, where's the Dow going to be at the end of this year? Where's the GDP? What'll be the GDP growth? And what's the state and federal unemployment rate going to be? And it's been interesting because last year we had over 50 folks enter that. No one guessed that the unemployment rate in the state or federal would be as low as it actually was. It was actually lower than anyone guessed. So there really are some surprises. I think we ought to also ask the price of Brent crude oil by the end of the year. That's everyone's conscious of that right now.
And I'm sure the presidential race will be on people's
minds.
Yeah,
there's that. Another dimension.
Well, Peter, it's great to have you on the show, and I know at the Chamber we enjoy partnering with you on this event, a quality event.